Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Stamping A to Z. I'm Linda Gibbs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada. I am in Edmonton, Alberta. If you are looking for a demonstrator, I'm happy to help. Just give me a shout. I can get you a catalog, whatever. It is September. It's been September for a few days, but today's exciting because September 4th is our release date for our new mini catalog. I call it the winter mini. It is actually technically September to December catalog. Normally it's fall, Christmas, winter type stuff. Stampin' Up! Did do an early release for online exclusives with some Christmas and a lot of kind of fall and Halloween stuff. So there's less of the fall Halloween in here. I actually get to open it up today and show you. Also exciting, if you are a scrapbooker, there is a scrapbook brochure available online. It is not in print, but it's available online to look at, and all that stuff is available today. Sorry, my computer just shut off. So if you haven't already, hop on to stampinup.com, or you can go onto my store, which is lindagibbs.stampinup.net, and you can shop and see all what's available. There's been 2 new kits just released today. One is an ornament kit and one is a beautiful card set with a box that goes with it. Hello, Yolande. Yeah, so today I'm going to be using embossing folders. I love doing techniques. I'm using folders that are, 3 of them are from the new mini catalog, which are the only 3 that are in there. And then I'm pulling in an old one, which I think is in the annual catalog, but I forgot to check. So hopefully, I think it is in there. I'm pretty sure it's in there. So I'm going to be using those and showing you some techniques with embossing folders. And yeah, so let's get started. I'll get you turned around. I did forget to say, if you're watching, please say hi. Let me know you're watching. I can see right now who's watching because I haven't turned my camera around. But once I turn my camera around, I won't necessarily see who's watching as much. So give me a heads up. Say hi if you're watching. I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get turned around. And I do have a new host code for September. I'm not sure, the host code thing is going to go away and it'll be personal customer rewards, but I'm not sure when that starts. They have not, they told us it was going to start at some point this year, but they still have not told us exactly when. I'm hoping it's starting in October because that is our new year. But I'm not totally sure. Sorry, I'm just going to try and pull up the video so I can see comments. Oh, and we need to mute that. Mute. Are we muted? Nope. There we go. Now we're muted. Okay. So here's the mini catalog. I have already showed you kind of what my pre-order looked like, but there's lots of fun stuff to be had. So make sure you can go online and take a look if you would like a physical copy, and just get a hold of me. This is, I just wanted to show, I printed out the online scrapbooking brochure of what's available. And of course my printer, I don't know why it double sides it this way. There's probably a way to change it. But I have not figured it out. So Stampin' Up!, as you may or may not know, took over Close to My Heart when they closed down. They took over some of their stuff. So they used to have things like double-sided cardstock where it's darker and lighter. And so that is becoming available in some colors now. It looks like they are in our colors, not in the, and we do have a new white. It's called White Willow. It's the 12 by 12. It is from Close to My Heart, or it was called White Daisy for Close to My Heart customers. Now it's called White Willow. It's supposed to be slightly different than our white. I have not seen it in person yet, so I'm can't really speak to that. So just wanted to point out there are sets in here like this Reindeer Memories. There is a whole reindeer suite in here. Oops, this one. And it goes with the Reindeer Memories scrapbook kit. So it adds on stickers and DSP and matching cardstock and all that kind of stuff. And there's different ways you can purchase that. So, and then there's an extra stamp set if you want something that's more towards the scrapbooking side of things. This one, there's a suite in the catalog as well. And again, an extra stamp set. I really like this one. And then there's a really fun Halloween one. Some fun Halloween colors. There's a fall. So yeah, just wanted to show that. All right, let's get on to the fun part. Let's move on to crafting. Okay, so the first card I'm gonna do is, I can bring all this stuff over here without dropping it everywhere. So there is a suite in the mini on page, I just buried my notes here. It is on page 30. It is called The Nests of Winter. I've had this for quite a while because they did an event for demonstrators quite a while back. It might have even been in June, May, I don't know. So we got to purchase this product ahead of time, and we had a little crafting session, if you want to call it. But I hadn't really played with it other than the cards we made together. That's all I had done. So this suite has the Birchwood 3D embossing folder, and it is one of those extra large embossing folders that we now have. So it measures 6 by 8.5, I believe. I have it right here. Yeah, 6 by 8.5. So you can do like a full half a piece of cardstock. There's lots of benefits to these larger embossing folders. You can easily position if you want your cardstock for your card to go this way rather than this way. You can still fit a regular sized or even slightly bigger piece of cardstock to go this way, which is what I'm going to be doing today, instead of being forced to go in a direction you don't want to go. You can do larger cards. So if you're into making 5x7 cards, this is great for that. It's great for scrapbooking. It's easier to line up the paper where you want it. For something like this, it's not a big deal. But if you have something that, like the circle one, if you wanted the circle to be off to the side versus in the center, you have more room to move around without it, because you only have this much room going through the machine. So they're really handy to have. A lot of them, 2 actually out of the 3 in the mini catalog are the really big ones. So something to be noted. We've had a wood grain in the past, a smaller one. I think it was the kind of the more square one. This is more like Birchwood. It has beautiful designer series paper, as you can see, with the birch kind of look. Okay, so I've got here some basic beige, and I'm going to run this through the machine just like so, but I'm going to mist. I usually, if you've watched me before, I normally use a baby wipe to moisten my paper to prevent it from tearing and whatnot. Ooh, I'm super close now. Let me raise this up a little, because, oh, maybe not. It's not that bad. It looks worse than it is on Okay. So normally I use a baby wipe to moisten this. I have no baby wipes. I need to get to Costco. I've had a wicked headache for the past 5 days and it is not letting up. It's a miracle that I'm even doing this. It took some Tylenol and all sorts of stuff, but okay, so I'm just going to take my mister. I'm going to go off screen and I'm just going to spritz it just a wee bit. I don't want it sopping wet. I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to put this in here. And like I said, I want it to go this way, not the other way, because my card is going to be portrait, not landscape. And so I want it to look like more realistic of a birch. So I just have my base, my 3D embossing folder, and then the 3D embossing plate. And I'm just going to run that through. And I never run it back through backwards because you want to always run the spine first. If you run it backwards, it can push and break the spine. So if you want to get a really good and go a second time, take it out and go through the same way again, or else flip it around, whatever you want to do, but make sure your spine is going forward. Okay, now let's move this. Then we get to do our ta-da moment. Now I can go back down. I was trying to figure out last week how to do, how to zoom in and out using the Stream Deck and stuff, and I think I have figured out I need to download an app and all this other stuff. But so I was on my way to figuring it out, and then I started with the headache and stuff, and well, it all went downhill from there. Okay, so now I've got my my embossed piece of paper. See, my brain isn't working so well. So with Stampin' Up's embossing folders, the part that has the Stampin' Up is the raised side. It's how it's kind of meant to go. But for this technique that I'm doing, I'm going to use the reverse side, which in this case with the birch, could really go either way. I mean, this does look more realistic, but I'm going to use this side. And I'm going to take my Misty here. If you have a, words are hard today, Stamparatus, you can use that as well. And I'm just going to stick it in here. I have my grip mat, which holds it down. Am I upside down? No, this is the right way. And then I have my Whisper White pigment ink. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why is she putting pigment ink onto really light paper? It's not going to show. Well, you're going to see in a minute. So the only reason I'm using a positioning tool is because I find with the white pigment ink, it is not the easiest thing to get a solid impression off the first go. So I like to be able to do it multiple times, and in order to do that, especially with a rubber stamp, you can't see through like the photopolymer stamps, so it's easier to have it all set, and then you can just go over and over like so. So I'm pretty, it's just that center part needs a bit more pressure there. Okay, oops, I put so much pressure it went in the grooves. I'm going to leave this here. I have one that I've already dried because I knew it takes a bit for the pigment ink to dry. You can use your heat tool if you want. You'll see why I wanted it very dry in a second here. So I've got this piece that should be dry. It feels a wee bit tacky. Now I tried doing this a couple ways. I like to try different ways because then I can tell you what not to do or what you should do. They always work, but sometimes there's one way that's better than another. I tried with blender brush to add a darker color onto here, but then you get the color inside the grooves, which isn't necessarily what you want. So the other option is to use a brayer, but again, for me, it took longer to get the amount of ink that I wanted on there, so I decided to go direct ink to paper. Now the only thing is I got some pigment ink on my pad the last time I did this because my ink wasn't quite dry, so you want to be careful. And I wiped it with a cloth. Again, if you have a baby wipe, it's easier. And then I re-inked it afterwards. So I'm just going to go gently. So I'm not, if my ink is not totally dry, it'll not spread too much. Ooh, I got stuck to the paper there. And right now, it's probably difficult to see the words, but they actually do pop with having the ink on there. Okay, so it's starting to come through. So I'm just gonna wipe this so we don't get it everywhere. Okay, and then let me just, my messy fingers. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. You can see the writing in the background. Now, I should have mentioned, see, my brain isn't all here right now, that the background stamp that I used with the script is very old. It's retired. You can use any background stamp that you want. I would recommend something small where you would see, it could be dots, it could be anything, just something to kind of give it that added texture, interest, whatever. I think because this is more of a Christmas card, I liked it, kind of lends itself, and with the birds and stuff. I thought about doing, I don't think I have a stamp. I can't remember. I have the embossing if I had like a music background stamp, that would look really cool too. But you can use anything. You just want to use, the trick is using an embossing folder that has quite a bit of real estate that you're stamping on versus just a whole bunch of really deep holes where you're not going to see the pattern. So that is the background. And then I've cut out, with our deckled circles, I've cut out a piece of gold foil. And then I cut out, so with our designer series paper, there's always pieces that match our dies and stamps. So I just cut this one out of designer series paper. And then I stamped this greenery, and I've already pre-cut it, but I'm going to try and leave it in here so I can color it. Now I'm just trying to think if I want to do all the coloring and all the stuff, or if I want to just show you the techniques of the embossing folders and then show you the finished cards. We'll do what we can here. Okay, so I've got the bird, and then I need this part, and then I've also cut out the circle, which I just remembered I have to stamp with the same words, but that means I need to clean off. I shouldn't have stamped the white part. I should have just skipped it, because now I have to clean it somehow. And without baby wipes, life is much more difficult. Let's take, off there. And I feel like I should just go rinse that, but I have some really old Stampin' Mist, which I believe we still sell. Mine is just super, super old. So I don't use it very often unless I am using kind of the pigment ink stuff. Normally I would just kind of spray it and go rinse it in the sink. But since we are live, I'm gonna make do with our mess here. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this circle here and my crumb cake. Hopefully it doesn't have, and I just want a light print. Oh, that's dark. Oh, you know what? I think I used basic beige, that's why. Like, why is it so dark? Okay, it's because I didn't leave out my basic beige. I am making the biggest mess. You see my ink pad? I don't know if, yeah, you can. It's, I'm gonna have to clean it because it's got white on it. And we don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to grab my basic beige, and I will, even though my stitching will be the wrong way, that's okay. This bottom part. Okay. So now we have our background. And then we need to color our leaves. I kind of went with, well, the paper has green in it, but I liked I liked the blue and pink for Christmas, but then because I was cheating and using the pre-cut bird, which has red, I changed my berries to red and went with the blue for the leaves. So I'm using Pool Party. Oh, I thought my headache was a bit better, but it feels like maybe thinking and presenting makes it worse. I don't know, but wholly hurting. So if I don't make sense when I'm talking today, you know why. I am not fully functional. Am I ever? Not really. Did I do my best? Okay. Hopefully everyone got their kids off to school. Back to school, woohoo! I'm actually kind of, well, I don't know. It's good and it's not so good. We had Owen home for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So he just went back to school. Yeah, he flew home. He flew back yesterday. He was starting today. That's the nice thing with just going back to school and not starting something new. He was living there all summer because he worked. His first co-op term was done at school. So it was easy. He came and we had some lake time and lots of, I love it when the boys all just kind of play together, hang out together. It just, that's what really kind of makes me happy. Family time. family time is getting harder and harder to get as they get older. So for those of you who might have little ones in elementary school and it's busy, it goes by way too fast. So I know you're probably told, enjoy it while you can, and you're just like, oh. Okay. Sports have not, well, they've kind of, Gavin's hasn't started back yet, so he's got a bit of a break, but he's driving now, so I don't even have that anymore. My life is really quieted down. All right, so I've got my cutout of the sprig. I don't know, is that what you call it? A sprig? And then we've got our, so kind of the intentions there is that the words kind of join the words, and then I put it all together. I stamped a thanks from the Sending Thanks and Much Love. This is from the stamp set that comes with the set. Now I only wanted the thanks. So what I did, there's many ways you can do this. You could just color the thanks and leave the rest empty. I just like to take these full stick sticky notes, and then I just go and hide the words I don't want to ink, and then ink it up in the Versamark if you're embossing, or color if you're not, and stamp it onto your piece of paper, and then you just get the thanks. And I meant to use a piece of crumb cake paper, but I used white instead, so I just colored it. So my thanks is a little bit less shiny than it probably should be. And then I used these beautiful embellishments. They're the ones called those Druzy adhesive backed embellishments. They are in the mini catalog. I don't know what druzy means. I haven't looked it up. I said last week I was going to look it up, and I haven't yet. Anyways, that's what I've used. And this is my card. I popped it up on embellishments. That is card number 1. I'm going to move I'll leave this card here so I can find it at the end. Move all of this, and we will go on to technique number 2. This. Otherwise, you know, you just run out of room. Okay, the second one I'm using is the beautiful, what's it called? Painted Trees from the Season of Elegance suite, which can be found on page 23. I'm getting hot. I might have to take off my sweater here. It starts out cool in the morning and then heats up. Okay, so this is the Season of Elegance. It's a really big suite. I showed it to you last week if you were here. It has 2 bundles. I'm not using this part today. I'm using this and the Painted Trees, which I love. I love me my embossing folders. Okay, so this is the embossing folder. Grab my papers, and I'm just gonna grab the annual catalog to make sure that the other embossing folder is in fact available, because I don't want to lead you astray. Oh, it is Snowflake Sky. Okay, good. So I don't know if it was last week or a couple weeks ago, Stampin' Up! Does a Technique Tuesday where one of their artisans demonstrates a technique. and I can't remember who it was that did it, but she did double embossing. So it simply means using 2 embossing folders on top of each other. Now the thing I discovered, and I'm not sure if she used 2 3D embossing folders or if she used a regular and a 3D. When you're using 2 3Ds, you want to think about the order that you're doing them in, because where's my piece that I wanted to show? Oh, where did it go? I thought I had it out. Huh. Okay. Oh, here it is. I was gonna say. So on this one, I did the snowflakes first, and I don't know if you can see it. You can barely see the snowflakes. They've pretty much been flattened out, and then the trees are nice and showy. And I think because the trees have so much texture, and the snowflakes, I have, maybe I did it upside down now that I think about it, because they show it with the most to the least. I did it the opposite way. I just had a few snowflakes to the less. Well, because that's how they, but if you think about it, it would be this way, wouldn't it? But now I'm second guessing myself how I want to do this. Okay, well, either way, I'm doing the trees first because I'm going to enhance the trees with color, and then I do the snowflakes after, because even if the trees gets flattened a little bit, they still look very textured because they have the color on them. So I'm going to take my this again, my machine. Okay, I'm going to mist this. And then I'm going to place it in here. I'm going portrait again. I want to have more space up top for my snowflakes. So I'm kind of going to go like that. And then I put my 3D plate and run it through. Okay, so then the ta-da! But it's not that much of a ta-da because it's white on white, right? So if you really want to get, you know, your full bang for your buck, try using some ink and a blender brush. So here I'm just going to come in, and I'm using the lighter one first. So I'm using Lost Lagoon. And I'm just, I mean, it doesn't matter if I go off of the tree. I'm just trying to keep it mostly on the tree because that's what I want to see. So I think I've got enough of the Lost Lagoon. Don't go worry about that too much. They're pretty much the same color, only darker. So then I got my pretty peacock. And again, I'm going to come in and add so I'm really getting some nice texture on the trees. Isn't that pretty? Like, I fell in love with this week just from the embossing folder itself. Like, look how pretty those are compared to just the white on white. I didn't stamp, I didn't, you know, it's just embossed and then add some color. You could do greens, you can do blues, you can do whatever. You can have pink trees if you wanted. But so this is beautiful just on its own. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the snowflakes, and I'm just wondering if I should switch it, but I feel like it might wreck my trees. I'm not sure. Should I try it? And then I can show you guys when it's done the other way too. Okay, I'm gonna spritz my paper just at the top on the back only. Just a wee bit, because I don't want my color to run, but I also don't want it to tear. With the 3D embossing folders, it can tear when you run it through. So let's do that and bring back the machine. So I'm thinking that I might even start it further down, but then it might, I'll just do it the regular way. We'll go full. Let's see what happens. Okay. I think part of the reason I like embossing is because I get to do the reveal just like in masking. So here I've got way more snow. Now, I don't know if my trees, they have flattened out quite a bit. They're still there, but not as much. But because I have the colored texture of the trees, they still very much look like they're textured in there. So I feel like it took away more texture than running it through the other way. I will show you at the end. But then I wanted to add a bit more. I wanted my snowflakes to show a little bit more, and I think that's why I did it the other way, because the big snowflakes were kind of standing alone. Oops. I took my Wink of Stella and I just kind of went over the big snowflakes. Add a bit of sparkle. You could add some color if you wanted to. It would be pretty tough. But you know, just the big, like I'm not worried about all the little snow. Maybe this one is prominent. And then I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it does have a bit of sparkle. Then we have, oops, the stamps. We have, you can put together all sorts of different sayings. You can have a happy, a merry, all the best, like, you know, you can mix and match however you want to. I ended up stamping merry and gold embossing it, and then I cut it out with the die. So you could use happy or merry in here, or probably is luck, keep, maybe some of the smaller ones. So I did merry, and then I did, so here's another reason I chose this suite. I love when they have the words dyed and the background die. So here we have the background die, and we've got, I did cherry cobbler, which is a color that they use in the suite, I think. I can't remember how I chose. Anyways, and then I realized I'm missing the dot. So just be careful. So you can see I have, this one I did in white. So it's a white dot for the eye. I could just color it, I guess. but I didn't realize my dot was missing, and I went and die cut something else, and so I ended up losing my red eye. So either I can take this one and color it. Now I usually, on the finer parts, I usually add the adhesive sheet to the back because I find it easier than trying to glue. If you have a fine tip glue, and I've seen, because I love our multi-purpose glue, I don't love the fine tip glue that we have, and I've seen people using other just refillable bottles and putting the white glue but in a more fine tip, and I might try that. But I do like the adhesive is so easy, and then everything is stuck down nicely. Ah. Okay. And there's a lot of like not connected, so it stretches really easily and undoes its, but it's nice when it has the shadow because it's easy to kind of know how to put it on. So I think there's a dot there, that's why it looks funny. And then at the bottom I stamped from our home to yours, but then I used the Lost Lagoon, but I stamped it in Pretty Peacock, and I cut out, because it says love from our home to yours, I stamped the whole thing, and then I just cut the love off and ended up with that. So you can see here how I've got just the less snow and more of the big snowflakes, and I was thinking, I don't have them yet, but there's snowflake embellishment trinkets in the mini catalog, and so I thought if you have some snowflakes, you could add them. This is the other version where it's super snowy. So let me know what you think. Do you like the more snowy? It's hard to tell without kind of mounting it, I guess. Love the Merry Christmas. So that's kind of how that would look. I don't know if you can really see the snowflakes. And then there's this one with fewer snowflakes and maybe a bit more texture to the trees. I don't know, I'm torn. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. Okay, so that is technique number 2 with the embossing folders. If you look back at my replay videos, I have done many videos on embossing, and I don't think, well, the blender brush on top, that's not new. Dragging, but stamping and then adding color. That came actually, the idea came from Jennifer McGuire. She is non-Stampin' Up, but she's a card maker, and she speaks to me. She's a former engineer. I have a partial engineering background. My brain is, I don't know, it just, I love watching her stuff. She comes up with, she pushes me out of my box because I think she does way more busy, bright, colorful things, whereas I like simpler. But then I love how this ended up turning out. Hers was completely different, obviously. I just took the technique, but yeah, it just kind of makes you think outside your usual box. Okay. Next up, I've got 2-in-1, and I'm actually thinking I might do another video continuing with this because I wasn't sure how much time. Oh, it's already 1:45. Okay, I'm going to show you the card, and then I'm either going to do a continuation of more embossing techniques next Wednesday, or I might try and do a YouTube video live. I have not done, I keep telling myself I'm going to do a live YouTube video and I don't. I will post here and let you know if I am going live on YouTube. I'll probably put it as an, I'll give a date anyways. So yeah, it'll either be on YouTube, and if it is, I'll let you know next week on my Facebook Live if you have to go watch the YouTube to see it. But here is the third and fourth technique. I've used the Plaid embossing folder, which is from page 27. I don't know if it's from, oh yeah, it is. It's part of the Reindeer Days suite, so don't miss the Plaid embossing folder. If you don't like this suite, that's fine. Don't miss that folder, because you can do so many things with it. So this is the folder. It's another big, big, big one. So that's why I have even more techniques that I want to do with it. And then I use the More Than Autumn bundle. This is the stamp set. Oopsie. And these are part of the dies. So there's a die for all the little, so there's only one stamp with the whipped topping, but there's two dies. There's a little one, where'd it go? This one. And then there's the bigger one that cuts out the big part. So it just, you just have to stamp it twice and then it cuts it out. It's pretty cool. And then it has the words, I fussy cut the shadow. And then I just stamped, and the frame comes from the Wildflowers something designs dies. That's in the annual catalog. So I, for this dark embossed part, you can see that it's got lighter and darker. I used Early Espresso and I ran it through the embossing folder just as it is. And then I dragged my Early Espresso ink over top. So the regular Early Espresso cardstock you can see in the background as the lines that are, so again, it was flipped over. It's the negative side, not the raised side. And then this one is the positive raised side, but I inked the actual embossing folder before running it through on the front side, so the side with the Stampin' Up. I put some white and ran it through, and then I dragged the pecan on top afterwards to add even a little bit more darkness. So I will show you how this, instead of talking you through it, I will show how it's done in my next video, and hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully this has inspired you to pull out your embossing folders and start playing. And don't forget to go on to the store and check out all the new stuff that just got released today. There's so much fun stuff to be had, as you can see. All right, hopefully you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Bye.